Okie dokie. Hello. So, let me put in here. I'm going to be giving my birth story. So, that is this live. I'm giving my birth story while the bread is rising. So I will wait till a few more people join, and then I'll start. How's your guys' day? How's everything going? I'm going to be sharing some books with you guys as well. Okay. Alrighty, so here I have a few books that I will be sharing with you towards the end, but I guess I'll get started. So my birth started on Halloween morning. It was about well, let me back up. So around 36 weeks pregnant, I woke up in the middle of the night with an extreme sharp pain, and it was everywhere. It was on my whole belly, and I felt like I was on fire. Oh my gosh, it was the worst pain. I knew labor was supposed to last like a few hours, and we lived 2 hours away from the hospital, so I didn't want to go to the hospital right away or anything like that. So anyways, I waited for about an hour and a half, and all of a sudden I couldn't handle it anymore. And so my husband woke up and I said, I don't know, I need to go to the hospital. And we went, and they couldn't find anything. Hi, cousin. I'm giving my birth story while I'm waiting for bread to rise. And so we go to the hospital, and they said, no, I don't know what that was. So when I had my appointment with my midwife, she said that it sounded like my son had pinched a nerve, and that I was having nerve pain throughout my whole belly. And let me tell you, that was worse than any of the contractions. So I was 38 weeks and 4 days, I believe, or 3 days. And I had been walking around at 3 centimeters dilated, and I was like 70% effaced. And I had been 3 centimeters for like a week and a half. And so I remember, I was like, well, I was really excited, but I was trying not to show it. And then sometimes when you say, oh, I'm 3 centimeters, people are like, well, that means nothing, and you're kind of like, well, geez, thanks, I was excited. So I kind of kept it to myself because I didn't want any like Debbie Downers to, I don't know, tell me that they weren't excited or that it meant nothing. It meant something to me. So, and I would only sit on a yoga ball. I started drinking red raspberry leaf tea. There's studies show that red raspberry leaf tea helps you give more purposeful contractions. So you're not just contracting and contracting without dilating and progressing. You're having purposeful contractions of getting the baby out. So like strengthens your uterus. So anyways, I was drinking that. We did curbside walks where you step 1 foot off and 1 foot on, and I would walk like that for hours. And anyways, so it was Halloween morning, October 31st, 2019, and I woke up around 6:30. Hi, Miss Archibald. I'm giving my birth story. So it was around 6:30, and I felt contractions. I didn't really know what contractions were going to feel like. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't really know if they're real. So I didn't wake my husband up or anything. And they started I started feeling sensations every 10 minutes or so. And they weren't painful, it wasn't this crazy. And I was waiting for like this pain, that I just couldn't stand. I know that's awful, but that's what I was waiting for. And I didn't feel any of that. So I had thought, I think these are more than Braxton Hicks, because Braxton Hicks I had been getting for about a week. And remind you, I was 38 weeks and 3 days at this point. And it seemed like they were more regular and like a little more lower and like internal. I don't know how to, they weren't like my stomach. It wasn't like my stomach hurting. It was like inside. And I was like, I think these are contractions. AB woke up and I said, I think I'm going into labor. And I was still working at this time. Hi, Marty. I was still working at this time, Miss Armijo. I was still working at this time, and I wasn't allowed to get off until I went into labor. So I was on the lookout of me going into labor. It was like, do I go into work? Do I not go into work? And I can't remember if I went into work and then I went home, or if I just called my sergeant at the time. I think I just called him and I said, hey, Sarge, I think I'm going into labor. I'm going to try to, if it goes away, I'll go into work. If it doesn't go away, then I think this is the real thing. And he said, okay, just get your paperwork, because I had to send to HR and all. That was like a big old thing. So I had all my paperwork ready, and I had all my bags packed, and we were ready because I wanted to labor at my sister's house till I couldn't take it anymore, and then I would go to the hospital. But we were 2 hours away, so I had to kind of find a place to labor because I didn't want to drive 2 hours to the hospital while I'm in like intense labor. Anyways, so we get to Amanda's house. It was probably like noon, 1 in the afternoon or so. And my contractions, they're about 6 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart, and they're staying steady. They weren't really bad. I would just kind of, close my eyes and breathe, take a few deep breaths. I had done hypnobirthing. Excuse me, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, hey Kevin, hypnobirthing, but that's what I did. So I would breathe through my contractions and it would help. It wasn't super painful or anything crazy that I had made up in my mind. And so I just, me and Amanda and my husband and her husband, we just hung out, and they had a play that night. And so I just kept squatting. I kept, walking around. I had my yoga ball and just trying to stay positive. I had clary sage on me. It's an essential oil, and clary sage helps your contractions move along. Also, we were just doing everything to try to get labor to move along. So if you're a mom, all the things. If you're not, then you probably don't need to know. But that's that. So we were doing everything. And then, hold on. My son's taking a nap, so if he wakes up, I'll have to go get him. But anyways, he's not awake. So where was I at? Oh, it was around 4 p.m. and hi, Auntie Yolanda. So it was around 4 p.m. and all my contractions stopped. And they were about 3 minutes apart. I know 3 minutes might sound really close to you, but I was waiting till I couldn't take it anymore. And I wasn't there yet. I was still laboring just fine. And then all of a sudden they went away. In hindsight, now I know that sometimes your body gives you a break before you're going to go into intense labor. I didn't know that. So I'm like, man, labor's stopping. I need to do something. Let's get walking. We need to do something to get labor going, because my contractions were 3 minutes apart. I was about to go to the hospital in my mind, and then all of a sudden they stopped. So I told my husband, I said, let's go walk around Walmart and, stress, I guess, is supposed to help induce. I know you're not supposed to stress yourself, but hey, Walmart stresses me out. So I was like, let's go to Walmart. So we went to Walmart, and I'm not telling anyone to do this. I should have said at the beginning, I'm not a health professional or anything like that. I'm just giving my story and what I did. I'm not saying that it's healthy or anything like that, but I got a little thing of orange juice. I drank like a few drinks out of it, and I poured castor oil in the orange juice in Walmart. And while we were walking around, I drank castor oil and orange juice. It's disgusting. I don't recommend it, but when you're desperate, I guess. I was only 38 weeks and 3 days, so I shouldn't have been so desperate, but I was. I was really excited and stuff, so I wanted to get things moving along. So we walked around Walmart for about an hour. I started feeling my contractions again. While we were at Walmart, I only had one contraction, so I was really worried that labor was over and I was going to have to go back home and go back to work and the whole deal. Well, on the way home, I start feeling contractions again. We get home and I say, why don't I take a bath, try to relax? Maybe relaxing will help my body progress. So I took a bath. I put eucalyptus, clary sage, lavender. Hi, Ronald. I'm giving my labor story. So in the bath, I put lavender, eucalyptus, clary sage. My friends gave me a bottle. It's like Relax, and it's like a mixture of, and I just put that everywhere. And I got in the bath. The moment I got in the bath water, my son just woke up. Hold on, I'll be right back. Say hi to everyone. Say hi. Okay. So, I don't belong here, Ronald. Hey, you're a firefighter. You might have to deliver a baby. So, I know firefighters say, I'll never deliver a baby. You never know, Ronald. Say hi. So, I got in the bath. The moment I got in the bathtub, literally my contractions went from almost nothing to so intense. And the only way I could explain it was my butt hurt so bad. So I don't know if that's like TMI, but it just hurt so bad. And I was like, AB, get me out of the bath now. So I'm over there struggling, trying to get out. I got out. My contractions stayed very intense, and it started getting to the point where I was like really having to focus. Hi, Marissa. I was really having to focus on breathing, relaxing. Like I had to really focus. And so the contractions started getting worse and worse. They weren't so bad though, because in between my contractions, I could still talk and laugh and everything. So I'm like, well, they're not that bad yet. I remember my mom saying, don't go to the hospital unless you can't talk, breathe, walk. And, thank you. I just re-dyed it blue. And I wasn't there yet. During the contraction, it was really intense. But when the contraction wasn't going anymore, I was totally fine, walking around, laughing. Well, it got to a point where I remember I was sitting there and I was like, my contractions were like a minute and 30 seconds apart. And I'm still like, nope, I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to go to the hospital. My husband, my sister, they're like, we should probably start, at least loading up the car. I'm like, no, this is just the beginning of labor. It's my first, so it's going to take forever. And so let me give a timeline. So they had started in the morning around 6:30. They stopped at 4 p.m. They started back around 6 p.m. And right now when I'm like kind of going through. I know we want another one. We're trying. So whenever it happens, I guess. But we'll see. So, oh, then I don't know what just happened, but I got a random phone call. So now it's around 9:30 or 10, and I'm in denial. It's like my contractions are like a minute and 30 seconds apart, and I'm like, nope, I don't want to go. But they were pretty intense. And finally I went to stand up, and I was like, I need to go to the hospital now. Like, I just felt heavy, like a lot of heaviness down there. I don't know how else to explain it. So I was like, okay, I think let's go. So we started packing up everything. We get in the car, and my contractions they're about 50 seconds apart. I wasn't even getting a full minute in between my contractions, and now I'm like, well, maybe let's go to the hospital now. So we get in the car, and it's about 10:30 so contractions started again around 6, and now it's like 10:30. So there's only like 4 hours of contractions, and I was expecting like hours, 13 hours, all this craziness, because that's what I hear a lot. So I was like, well, let's go. So we're on the way to the hospital, and I'm in the passenger seat, my poor sister and husband. I'm like, don't drive, stop. And he's like, I have to drive. I'm like, no, please stop. And he's like, I'm sorry. And so my sister was like, you just have to drive. So I'm over there, screaming during my contractions, and then they would stop, and I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to be so mean. And then a contraction would come, and I'd be like, stop, just pull over for a second. Anyways, we finally get to the hospital, and my poor dad, he wanted to help. Oh, so my whole family's there. This was before COVID, so this is a different time. But my whole family's there. My dad is running to get me a wheelchair because he wants to help me. And I go to sit in the wheelchair, and it was the most uncomfortable. Like, sitting down just was not comfortable for me at all. So my poor dad, he's like, here, sit down. And I was like, get this away from me. I start pushing the wheelchair, and I'm like walking in. Oops, you okay? I go into the hospital. The guy that's running the front desk used to be my friend. I used to work with him in the emergency room. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm having a baby. He's like, congratulations. Anyways, it was awkward. And I guess me and awkward human interaction just go hand in hand. So anyways, I'm just focused on getting upstairs. I don't really remember like getting upstairs, but I just remember being so focused and just breathing through my contractions. And I was like, I can do this. I really wanted a natural birth. So I was like, I can do this. I can breathe. I can do this. I can breathe. That's just all I kept telling myself. And we get there, and I just kept I just knew they were going to send me home. They were going to check me, and they were going to be like, sorry, you're only 2 centimeters. Go home. Even though I had been 3 centimeters for a whole week and 70% effaced. So she checks me, and she's like, oh, you're 4 centimeters, but you're 100% effaced. And I remember I just started crying. I was like, they're going to send me home. I'm only 4 centimeters. This isn't even real labor. I don't know if I could do this. You're supposed to go when they're 3 minutes apart. You're lucky your husband and sister didn't. I know in hindsight, but I didn't want to go to the hospital. I didn't want to have a baby at a hospital. I wanted to have a home birth, but we couldn't find a doctor that would do a home birth, all this stuff. So in my head, I'm like, well, if I wait long enough, maybe it'll just happen at home on accident. I don't know. That's probably like a really bad birth plan. Don't do that, guys. But I don't know. That was in my head. So we're at the hospital, and my contractions are like one right after the other. So the bathroom is literally like right next to the bed. From the bed to the bathroom, I had 3 contractions. I could not even sit on the toilet. It was awful. Well, it wasn't the worst thing, but it was a lot of discomfort. So they get me all hooked up, and I'm crying. And I remember the nurse comes in. I'm like, "You're sending me home, huh?" And she goes, "Nope, we have a room for you. You need to go into the room now." And I was like, "Really?" I was so excited. By the time we got from the room to the labor room, I went from 4 centimeters to 6 centimeters in just that little walk. We got there. They checked me right away, and she's like, "You're 6.5 centimeters." And I was like, "Yes, I can do this. I know I can do this." And I was just standing there because I did not want to sit down. Sitting down wasn't comfortable for me. I did not want to lay down. I just wanted to stand and like lean over on the bed. So like they raised the bed super high, and then, sorry guys, that's like so not ladylike. They raised the bed super high so I could just like lean over the bed and just kind of like sway and rock and breathe. And so I'm swaying and rocking and breathing, and really they're hooking me all up to all this stuff that I didn't want, but you have to have because you're at the hospital. And so I did not want the monitors. I did not want an IV. I did not want all those things, but oh well. I had my birth plan written out, and I handed it to my nurse. I said, "This is my birth plan. I really want to try to have a natural as possible birth. I want delayed cord clamping. I don't want my child to be taken from me. I want to hold him for the first hour. I want skin-to-skin touch. I want the father to do skin-to-skin. I don't want him to have a bath for the first 24 hours. I guess I was a picky mom, but oh well, you have... Oh, hi, Noah. Jed, say hi. Say hi to your cousin. So, yeah, I guess I was a picky mom, but when you're a mom, you can do whatever you want. So, I gave him my birth plan, and they're doing a lot of stuff. By the time they get me on the bed, labor had hit, and I felt like I was having a forever contraction. And I remember looking at AB and saying, "Can you tell me that when my contraction's going to end?" Because they can see it. And so he told the nurse, "Hey, can we let her know when the contraction's going to end?" And she was watching and watching. It continued for like 3 minutes straight. And she goes, "She's not having a break." And then I guess because I wasn't having a break in the contractions, it was putting a lot of pressure on him. So his heart rate started dropping. So, but I was still very conscious. I was very aware of what was going around. I was able to talk. I kept telling my little sister to get out of the room, but she kept sneaking her way in. What? I'm telling the story of you being born. You want to come say hi? So, anyways, say hi. The doctor comes in and she's like, "We need to put a monitor in his head because his heart rate is dropping." But it was because I was just having like so many contractions. That red raspberry leaf tea was really doing its job, but my contractions was putting too much pressure on him. So they wanted to give me something to relax me, but I told them I didn't want anything. But they said, "Well, it's not really for you, it's for him." And in hindsight, that's what they're going to say to anything they want you to do, because of course you're going to do it for them because you care for them. So of course I was like, "Okay, go ahead." I could think he wants to nurse. No, we can't nurse right now. And so they gave me morphine, I believe it was, or fentanyl. I don't know. But it was fentanyl. They gave me 100 of fentanyl. And literally I went from a lot of discomfort to straight asleep. I was out, snoring away. And I remember, like, I could hear what was going on and I was aware, but I was sleeping. I don't know how you can be awake and sleeping at the same time, but I did it. And so they put a monitor in his head. It's internally, so they go up your cervix, and then they put a little monitor in their head, and it monitors their heart rate and everything. So at this time, I'm like 8.5 centimeters, and it's probably like 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. So I got to the hospital a little after 10:30, and now about 2 hours have passed. And they break my water. Once they break my water, literally, it was like, it happened so fast. They broke my water. I remember having like 2 really intense contractions, and I was screaming, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And they were like, well, you're about there. And I remember reading that when a mom starts saying, I don't want to do this anymore, they're probably really close. And so I remember I thought I had peed and pooped everywhere. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I was so embarrassed. I kept telling them. And right before I'm pushing him out, I just yell out, holy moly macaroni, this is intense. And my nurse just starts laughing, and she's like, yes, it's very intense. And I'm like, this is so intense. I just kept saying that over and over because I guess I was so shocked on how intense it was. Because it wasn't like, I mean, I was in discomfort. There was pain involved, but it was more like just so, I can't explain it, but it was like so much. Like I felt like my body was on overload and I was about to explode, literally. And so, holy moly macaroni. Yeah, Ronald, that was exactly what I said. Holy moly. And my nurse was laughing so hard. She was like, this girl. So my sister, I wanted Amanda to catch my sister. I wanted her to catch him. Well, she's at the bottom, and I remember looking down, and she had her gloves on, and she's like just waiting. She's like so excited, and I just was like, what the heck is going on? Ruthie! So I just remember looking down, and I saw Amanda, and she's like this, and she's like, he's right there. So they wanted me to start pushing. I had researched, I really wanted to do J breathing, which is like, the only way I could explain it is you like are breathing from like that. I don't know, that's J breathing. You like really, it's from deep inside. I know, Ruthie, you just had to show up during this time. So I was pushing like that, and I remember my nurse, she was like, you can't be doing that. You need to push with everything you have. So I was like, oh, okay, but I really didn't want to push. And I told her, I said, I don't want to push. And I'm over there arguing with my nurse, 10 centimeters, and I'm like, I don't want to push him out. And she's like, you have to. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And so anyways, I was like, okay, I'll push. But I didn't, like, I gave like this half butt push, and I was just like, ugh. And she's like, come on, you have to push him out. I'm like, okay. So another contraction came, and I pushed, and I could feel him coming out. And I remember I was like, nope, I don't like that feeling. That feels weird. And I just sucked him right back in. And the nurse and everyone looked at me, and he was like, he was out. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And I was like, it feels weird. And they're like, you have to, they're like, okay, when you feel that like weird feeling, you have to push past that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we waited for another contraction to come. The contraction came, and I'm pushing, and I get to that weird feeling. I was like, oh, I did not want to push past that. I don't know. It was just a weird feeling. The only way I could explain it is like, it felt like my legs were going to fall off or something. Yeah, I sucked him back in. I know. I don't know how I did that, but I guess I just did. I know that probably sounds awful. So anyways, I pushed past that, and he came flying out. And right when he came flying out, Alexandria is down there, Amanda's down there, and Jed comes flying out, and I guess there was like a big chunk of something that flew right past Alexandria and landed in her hair, and she had like blood and all the other juices splattered all over her, and she's just like Oh my gosh, that was the best sight. It was hilarious. Alexandria is like in total shock. Amanda's laughing. The doctor and the nurse are laughing because they just saw Alexandria like in freaking out. Me and Abby are up here. We're crying because we're happy, and they hand him to me, and I just start like rubbing his back and everything. Oh my gosh, scared for life. Yes. Alexandria was totally like, I don't ever want to have that happen to me. Oh my gosh, did he fly out? Good for you. I went natural with mine. I don't recommend natural unless it's really what you're a mother's child. Yes. I think every body is designed to give birth, but I think a peaceful and calm experience is really what you want for your family. So if it's going to be, like, if you're in so much fear of giving birth, fear is no way to give birth. Fear actually intensifies pain. So the more fear you have, the more painful your birth will be. But the less fear you have and the more accepting you are, you're only in as much pain as your brain allows you to be in. So it's all up here. Anyways, that's just my little 2 cents. So Jed comes flying out. Alexandria gets splattered. There's chunks of blood in her hair, probably parts of the placenta. I don't even know. And everyone's laughing so hard. Oh my gosh, I want another one so bad, but Noah, baby Jack, he's terrible. Noah's so good. Poor baby. So the next, so they, I pushed out the placenta, everything came out, and then we got to have skin-to-skin time with him, and I don't know, just really enjoyed our time together. Postpartum to me was, I don't know, I'm just going to be honest, but postpartum for me was way worse than the birth. But I know for a lot of people it's the opposite. The birth is like way more intense than postpartum. But I don't know, I guess I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for postpartum. I wasn't ready for how different I was going to feel about my body, how uncomfortable. But I think one thing that I'm very excited now that I'm a year postpartum is my body feels all the way back to normal. Yes, I have, some stretchy skin or whatever, but as far as like lifting weights at the gym and everything like that, I can. Yeah, he's chewing on my headphones. I know it's disgusting, but he likes to chew it. I know that's probably disgusting, but I think he likes the taste of earwax. I don't know. Anyways. I'm poor guy. Don't eat earwax. But anyways, I think postpartum for me was more intense than the birth, but I thought it was fun. Haha, at least he isn't going for your earring. Oh yeah, I know. I had to stop him from that. He likes to pull my hair though now. It's always chomping on my... Yeah, he likes to chew on everything. But I don't know if you guys have any questions about my birth. I thought he might choke. Oh yeah. No, these won't. They're all connected. I don't think he'll choke on it, but I'll make sure that he won't get to that. But if anyone has any questions about birth, I don't know. I'm an open book. I probably share too much, but I'm going to go check the bread, and then we could finish the bread. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time.